Hello po at isang magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Ngayon po ay Thursday, July 14, 2022 at welcome po sa The Stock Market Today. At kung first time niyo po sa channel na ito, ako po si Benji Chodoro, isang retired bank officer na nagsimula mag-invest sa Philippine stock market noong 2007. And I also report the latest news on your favorite and most active stocks. Kung gusto niyo po ng content, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. Kung meron po kayong stocks na gusto ipa-review, paki-comment lang po sa comment box at aking pa-prioritize. Hindi po ako financial advisor. Anything I say in this channel ay hindi po financial advice. At again, get well soon to my cousin Mari. We're praying for your quick recovery. Ang ating news ay tungkol sa BSP rate hike kasama ang ating financial headlines at ang resulta ng trading sa ating PSE ngayong araw, July 14, 2022, dito lamang sa The Stock Market Today. Okay po, ang ating financial headlines is from BDO Securities. Government infra spending to breach 6% of GDP in 2028. Jokno says too early to tinker with tax system. Senate bill requiring telcos to cover remote areas is refiled. Siguro hindi ito lumusot in the previous Congress, no? And then spot prices surge to 9 pesos and 1 centavo in June. Ito yung wholesale electricity market na pinagkukuhanan ng presyo ng Meralco at ng ibang power companies. PAL announced more domestic flights to meet demand. Nagpipick up na po ang airline industry at salamat naman at dumadami na nagta-travel. Alter Energy files for IPO. Okay, so yan po ang ating mga headlines, but our main headlines is actually kararating lang po dito, no? Just this morning, BSP surprises with massive rate hike to choke off rapid inflation from Philstar. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas hiked its key rate by a massive 75 basis points in an emergency meeting on Thursday in a bid to rein in rapid inflation and arrest the peso slump. The jumbo rate increase was preceded by 2 rate hikes, cumulatively worth 50 basis points in May and June. The BSP policy rate now stands at 3.25, back to March 2020 level and reversing all the central bank's pandemic-era rate cuts. So in other words, before this rate hike, the rate stands at 250 plus 75 basis points, naging 3.25%. This is the BSP's most forceful tightening since it formally adopted the interest rate corridor system as a framework for conducting its monetary operations in 2016. Before this, the last aggressive action from BSP was recorded in July 2008 when it jacked up rates by 50 basis points. At the same time, this is the BSP's first unscheduled move since holding an off-cycle meeting on April 16, 2020 to cut rates and support the pandemic-hit economy. The Monetary Board was not supposed to meet until August 18, and the BSP had originally planned to lift rates by 50 basis points when that day comes. As it is, the BSP surprise decision came over a week after the release of data showing inflation sizzling to 6.1% in June. Actually, sa US po, nasa 9% na po ang interest rates, the hottest in more than 3 years, and soaring past the government's 2 to 4% target. That differential kasi between the US rates and the rates that we have now is causing an outflow of dollars, no, in the Philippine economy. So outflows po yung US dollars natin and yung peso tuloy natin bumabagsak. No, supply and demand yan, di ba? So, ganun po nangyari. Contrary to the Fed, which has delivered mega rate hikes amid criticisms that it acted too slow on U.S. inflation, the BSP had initially taken a less aggressive stance and lifted rates only by 25 basis points at its May and June meetings to gently slow the economy and cool inflation. Ang downside naman po nito ay there is a danger of recession. Yan po ang downside po ng raising interest rates. So, nasa 9.1 na po ang US, 4-decade high na po, no? But analysts have said that the dissonance between BSP and Fed policies has been weighing on the peso, which has shrunk to a 17-year lows. A falling currency is only exacerbating inflation in the Philippines by making imports more expensive at a time of rising global energy crisis. So I hope the Philippine economy can take that, and that's what the BSP thinks. The BSP thinks that the 75 basis points increase could slow down, well, it would eventually slow down the economy but arrest inflation without sacrificing the economic growth that we need. So yan po ang ating report, news. And kalalabas lang po ito this morning at 11:22 a.m. So let's check naman our comments, from our dear subscribers. Ang sabi po, thank you sir. Sabi ni Isip Roman, buti na habol si Espinek. Okay, salamat din po. And let's now go to, meron din si Theometer Camtech, good to buy AC, bargain yan. Okay, sige, salamat po. AC naman is a good stock. Ganun din yung mga index stocks ay magaganda, no? Okay, tingnan naman natin ang index on what happened to the index today. And the PSE fell, actually almost flat to 7.24 points or 0.12%. So, konti lang po ang bagsak from the previous day. Ang index ay nasa 6248.13 and it's still bearish, pababa pa rin siya. Yung ating market summary, so sa market activity naman, yung all share index natin is also down 0.22%, so it's almost flat also. Market activity, 124 companies declined, 69 advanced while 34 remained unchanged. The financials and the services were up 1.69% ang financials, while the rest of the sectoral indices are down, led by properties at 1.24%. So kasama dyan si ALI, yung bumagsak. Let's now check the most active stocks. Let's do ALI, SM, ICT, URC, SMPH, and BDO. Yan ang top 6 active stocks. At dito po tayo sa Ayala Land, patuloy pa siyang bumababa at it became oversold on May 13 and May 13 at meron din siya sa June 23, when it fell. RSI was at 28, oversold na. Now it's approaching oversold level again. Uy, oversold na rin, nasa 29.87, oversold na po ito. At patuloy pa siyang bumabagsak, but ALI is a good stock naman, Yung ating fundamentals for ALI ay makikita natin dito, nasa 42, or based on yesterday's prices, nasa 72% upside based on yesterday's prices. So, tingnan lang natin yung support niya, and let's do a 1-week chart. And this is a trick I learned from, not a trick, but a sensible thing to do is to do a 1-week chart para makita mo yung pinaka-support niya, Natutunan ko po ito kay Miss JD. Ganun po siya mag-analyze. Anyway, ang pinaka-support, actually, mababa na po, Nasa 505 ang pinaka-support, but it continues to move downwards. Nasa area na po ng support ito, itong Ayala Land. Continues to move downwards pa po siya. And the next support level, actually hindi ko siya makita yung pinakadulo niya. Yan, no? Masyado na siyang malayo eh. Pero siguro nasa 18 whereabouts, no? 19, nasa 19 ang next lower support niya. 1950 or 1970 or 1948 rather ang pinaka next support level ni ALI. Yan po. And it continues to move downwards and it's oversold already. So bearish po si ALI. Balik po natin sa 1 day. Next, let's do SM. SM is also, I think, it's also down. Yan. Naku, lalong bumababa, no? And the trend is also downwards. At pinaka-support niya ay siguro parallel channel ang gawin natin dito. Para makita natin. Okay, the black line above is acting as our resistance, no? Yung black line is the MA100 at 854. Yan po. But the support is at 752. Nasa 775 po si SM. Continues to move downwards. RSI is bearish at 41. Yan po. But the fundamentals of SM, tignan po natin. SM Prime Holdings, it's a buy. But konti na lang po yung upside niya. Nasa 8.40 pesos or 8.4% based on yesterday's price. So not much. No, sorry. It's not 8.4 SM Investments. Nasa 1,160. I was looking at SM Prime Holdings. So nasa 45.5% upside po si SM Prime Holdings based on yesterday's prices. So it continues to move downwards. Support is 753. Resistance is at 850. Okay, after SM, kay Mr. Razon naman tayo, ICT. May maganda kaya to. Naku. Still moving downwards, although it's a green candlestick today. And the RSI went up a bit, nasa 45, but it's still bearish as our indicators. Nasa taas po siya. So, yung pinaka-support, nandito po sa areang to. Support and resistance, hindi pa yung exact points, ano? Area po siya. So, nasa 181 po ang pinaka-support niya, and this is support level already. Now, the resistance, pwede natin ilagay dito sa area to. Nasa 200 yung nearest resistance niya because there's a support here na naging resistance, and the points here, which is the stock is experiencing resistance level, is at the 200 level. Okay, and then let's do URC. Si URC, a month ago, yan, nagko-consolidate lang po, no? And as of June 24, nag-oversold po siya noong June 16, and it went to its lowest level at that day, no? Nasa 94 po yung lowest level niya, but nagkaroon po ng surges or breakouts, and a series of breakouts na na-sustain. Ngayon po ay nagkakaroon ng consolidation. So it's still bullish. In fact, naging 71 po siya yung RSI niya noong July 7, but it's now consolidating at the moment. So, ang pinaka-resistance ni URC ay makikita po natin dito sa 122, while the nearest support ay nandito po sa yung upper support level would be here, 102 ang pinaka-support po niya. The higher support actually nandito po sa 112. So yan po si URC, and it's bullish. Okay, after URC, si SMPH naman, SM Prime. Ito po yung real estate and mall business ni SM. So si SM Prime nasa 36.70 and let's wait for the candlesticks. Yan. So it's just moving sideways generally. And it lost 20 centavos. So just moving in a sideways level, ano? So pagka straight po yan ay sideways lang po. In general, sideways lang po, although it's ups and downs, ay halos diretso lang po ang kanyang movement. So what we can do here is draw a Darvas box which more or less would mimic where SM is. Yan. More or less yan po yung movement ni SM on the past, shall we say, since February. Ganyan po yung pinaka-movement niya. The upper border, as we have observed, is at 39.72 or almost 40. Actually, umabot po yan ng 40 dito 52-week high niya. And the support is at 34.15. And hindi po yan exact points. These are areas. Or mga 33 to 34 po ang pinaka support, just moving sideways. RSI is a bit bearish at 48. Finally, we have BDO. Actually, BDO is one of the top gainers today. It gained 2.59% to end at 123. So nagho-hold po ang pinaka-support niya ngayon, ano? And yung support po niya ay nandito po sa level na ito, nasa 118. So this is what's holding the stock, no? 119 actually is the support level, and the lower support of BDO is here at 110. Yan. And it is already above the short-term indicator of 122, and it's moving upwards. In fact, yung EMA50 niya is 122. Nalagpasan na po yung closing price niya yun, no? And then the resistance is here. Nandito po sa area to. Nasa 134. The nearest resistance, well, mga 133. Yung nearest resistance po ni BDO. And it's moving upwards as the RSI is bullish at 54. Okay, yan po ang ating report sa stock market ika-14 ng Hulyo 2022. Ito po si Benji Chitoro nagpapaalala, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Maraming salamat sa inyong pagsubaybay at hanggang sa muli, stay safe, God bless, and bye for now.